65 cents a gallon. Joining me right now is Kentucky Congressman and House Oversight Committee ranking member James Comer. Congressman, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. I know that the House Oversight Committee is demanding answers from Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm on its plans to replenish the SPR and the plans to get gasoline prices down. Have you heard back from the Secretary?
We have not, but the basic genesis of the letter is, what's your plan to refill those reserves? Those reserves weren't meant to be something to supplement Joe Biden's war on the energy companies. Those were there to protect Americans in the case of a supply disruption. That's what the strategic oil reserves are for. And this is the second time recently in the past few weeks that Joe Biden has made a major dip into our strategic reserves to try to reduce the price of gasoline, when we all know, Maria, the simple solution to the problem of high gasoline prices is to unleash the potential of the American energy companies and let us drill more, let us process more. But the Biden administration will not do that. And here we are with a situation of record high gas prices.
Yeah, so what are you going to do about it at this point? I mean, is there any way to change Joe Biden's motives and moves in terms of killing fossil fuels? It's extraordinary to me that he keeps saying it's Putin's price hike, no admission whatsoever about all of the spending and the fact that he, in first day in office, killed the XL pipeline and pretty much with executive orders is killing the fossil fuel industry.
I think every American, even registered Democrats, realize that Biden's energy policies have created the situation where we are with record high gas prices with no end in sight. So what we're doing on the Oversight Committee, we are asking for their plan to refill the strategic reserves, which they do not have one. But at some point, they're going to have to do that. And if you'll remember, Maria, President Trump was criticized by the Democrats when he made a big purchase to fill those tanks to the brim, and he purchased that at $1.50 a gallon. Now Joe Biden's going to be in a position, probably in a few months, to where he's going to have to refill that at $6 a gallon, the way we're trending. So this is a terrible use of taxpayer dollars. This is another waste. This leads to more inflation, and it doesn't solve the underlying problem, which is we have an energy crisis in America created by the bad policies of the Biden administration. And again, the solution is simple. Let's drill more. Let's give more permits. Let's allow the distilleries to refine more, and let's get that Keystone Pipeline back online. There are simple solutions to this problem, but yet Joe Biden continues to pander to the far left wing of his policy. They're trying to enact their dream of a Green New Deal, and the American people aren't buying it now, especially when they go and fill up the tanks of their cars.
Congressman, you in the Oversight Committee have been investigating the influence peddling potential of Hunter Biden. Apparently, Hunter Biden making his first public appearance in weeks, going out for lunch in Malibu, California this week. And his daughter, Naomi, tweeted at Senator Ron Johnson, saying that she'd come to his office and call her dad on speaker if he votes for gun reform. As the Post reports, insiders and Hunter himself are saying that Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's closest advisor. Your thoughts on all of this, Congressman?
Well, that's scary. Again, if you'll go back to when all the revelations about Hunter Biden started becoming public, Joe Biden distanced himself from Hunter, especially his business dealings. Now you have his daughter to confirm what we've already released to the press, that Joe Biden is very connected to Hunter Biden, not only in business, but in politics. And this is a problem because Hunter Biden has committed 150 suspicious activity reports with his banking accounts, which is probably more than any American in the history of suspicious activity reports. He continues to have shady business dealings with our enemies in China, Russia, Ukraine. This is a guy that's a bad deal. He's a walking, talking ethics conflict. But what we have determined in the Oversight Committee is that this is potentially affecting Joe Biden's decision making. You said in the earlier block that he continues to ease up on China. You know, we have an unfair trade disadvantage with China. They don't play by the rules. Donald Trump tried to rein China in, tried to create a level playing field, and Joe Biden's walking this back. We think this is because many of the business dealings that Hunter has had with China, which Joe Biden's accounts are commingled with Hunter's.
That is horrible. So he's basically making policy for the United States of America, and it's compromised because he has taken in so much money. Have you been able to document how much money the Biden family has taken in from Chinese officials, Congressman?
We're still putting that together. We're combing through the bank records. As you know, Maria, we have Hunter's hard drive, and it had just about every one of his financial records on there. We've requested information from banks like Wells Fargo where they have accounts. So we're putting that together, and hopefully by January, when hopefully the House flips and the Republicans become majority, we'll be able to have a committee hearing to really delve into that and show the American people how bad it really is.
Congressman, real quick before you go, what is the environment like there in D.C. ahead of the big show tonight? The January 6th hearings going to go prime time. Liz Cheney and her colleagues hiring a big-time TV producer to put it on, the former head of ABC News.
Well, I think that we've seen Adam Schiff over the past 4 years always overpromise and underdeliver. And that's what my prediction is tonight. He's doing everything in his ability to try to create buzz, to get major TV ratings, because this is all a political stunt. This has nothing to do with any informative, investigative research done by this illegitimate committee. This is all about politics. This is a big show. I don't expect to see anything tonight. And besides, I don't think the American people are very concerned about Nancy Pelosi's January 6th committee.
Yeah. All right, Congressman, we'll be watching. Thanks very much for being here this morning. Congressman James Comer in D.C. We'll see you soon. Well, thanks for your leadership, Congressman. Thank you.